Hey guys, Austin here, and today we're going to be talking about how you can take your photo sets from looking like this to looking more like this. This is actually my first venture into YouTube, so if you like what you've seen so far, make sure to give us a like and subscribe to the channel. It's going to really help motivate me to continue to make these videos going forward. And if you like what you see back here with these desks and desk setups, that's actually going to be my next video. I'm going to be going over this whole studio space, the desks and everything that goes into this space. So yeah, you're definitely not going to want to miss that. Alright, enough housekeeping, let's get into the rest of this video and how to make a dynamic set of photos. Alright, the first thing to consider when creating a dynamic set of photos is to stop thinking about your photos as a singularity, but to think of them as a gallery. I come from a fine art background, so before photography I was actually a painter, and I spent a lot of time painting these different series that I would then approach galleries with to see if they would like to show them in their gallery, for people to come and see. And when I made the switch to photography, that was kind of one of the things that mindset that I took with me when it came to taking my photos. So every time I go out to shoot, whether it's a portrait session or product photography, I think of it the same way. I imagine to myself, okay, these photos I'm about to create, what would they look like if I were to take them to a gallery and hang them all up next to each other? If you were to hang all your photos from one session next to each other on a wall, you wouldn't want them to all be the same medium shot of your model, but you'd want them to all have their own unique feel and composition, but you'd want them to still all relate to the same overall story that you're trying to tell. And over the last few years that I've been shooting photos, I've actually come up with and put together about 5 steps that I use at every one of my shoots that help me guarantee by the end of the session that I have a dynamic and diverse set of photos. Those 5 steps, or I guess those 5 photos that I always make sure I have at each shoot, are a wide shot, a medium shot, a close-up shot, a detail shot, and an abstract shot. A lot of times for me, the wide shot is like my establishing shot. It sets the mood and the tone of the session, and it also shows off the environment and usually my subject in that environment. The medium shot is usually the first time we get to meet our subject. I usually shoot it from about mid-thigh up, and it's a great photo for, again, introducing your subject, but also getting a sense of the wardrobe from the day, which can include our audience in on the type of weather you had, like whether it was cold or it was hot, windy, or rainy. The close-up shot or the portrait shot is a classic. I usually shoot it from about shoulders up, and this is a great photo to establish the emotion of your photo set. So the eyes are the best tools for evoking emotion, especially in a viewer, and so whether your model is happy, laughing, sad, crying, will set the tone for the entire photo set just with that one image. Now, detail shots are kind of my favorite. They're really good for world building and story building and getting to see more of what's going on around your model or your subject. And these detail shots, they can be of the environment, maybe some cool architecture on nearby buildings or some trees in the distance, but they can also just be details in your model's clothing. It could be pins on the jacket or jewelry they're wearing or some cool pair of shoes. They just add more depth and story to your set of photos. And lastly, the abstract shot. So this is the shot where you can kind of just throw out all the rules of what you know about photography and just be super creative and just create a very unique image. Some things I like to do are just maybe having my background in focus but my subject is out of focus, maybe blurring my subject with motion blur, maybe turning the image upside down so it looks like my subject is hanging out of the sky. Things like this can create really dynamic abstract shots that just really help to round out the whole set of photos. And also just one little quick note on these 5 steps. I know I talked a lot about getting a wide shot, a medium shot, and a close-up shot, but you don't necessarily need different lenses to accomplish those steps. You don't need to have a 16-35, a 50, and a 70-200 to get your different shots. You can use just one lens and just move closer and farther away from your subject. Honestly, a lot of the times when I'm shooting, I usually primarily just use my 35mm, and to get my wide, medium, and close-up and detail shots, I just move closer and farther away from my subject to get the kind of the same effect. So no, you don't need to have a ton of different lenses. You can follow this guide with just one lens and still get incredible results. Another thing I do with these steps is I don't just take one wide shot, one medium shot, or one detail shot, but I actually take about 15 to 20 different photos per step. So that way when I get back to the computer after the shoot, I have some flexibility, I have some options as to what photos look better together. And with these extra photos, you can also create different volumes within the same series of photos. So for example, I have, my Whispers in the Wind set of photos, and I have volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, all shot on the same day, but because I had this variety of different wide, medium, and close-up shots, I was able to put together these different sets of photos. But yeah, that's been it. Those are the 5 steps that I take with me on every shoot to make sure that I get a dynamic set of photos. I hope this helps. I hope that you learned something. If you like this video, again, hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Next week, we are going to be going over all of this behind me. We're going to be going over the desk setup, so you're not going to want to miss it. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys very soon.